What is your guilty sexual pleasure and why? A while ago, I saw some video of a girl going on a daring hike where she strips nude while walking along a mountain crest trail. It was pretty arousing at first, seeing her walking out in the wide open, taking off piece after piece of clothing, fully visible to the miles and miles of sprawling hills below her. She then stops to lie down on a rock, fully exposing herself to the air to soak in some warm golden sun against her writhing glistening naked body, and she is immediately swarmed by insects. Yep. That's a nope. So here's the thing, pleasure/praise kinks. Some people just love knowing the other person feels good. So much so that it makes whatever they have going on that much hotter to them. In the case you stated, they might not get a physical pleasure from it, no. But you make sure to tell them how much you enjoy it every step of the way, before, during, and after, and you just might surprised. Plus, if they have a toy for themselves during, it's not like there will be zero pleasure, physically, for them. And doing your best to return the favor after the fact, even days later, will show your appreciation and acknowledgement of you made my dream come true, I want to make yours too. Hey, this used to be me. Your comment inspired me to reply with my own experience. You sound like you're still having a great time during sex, so feel free to disregard this if you want. Similar to you, I realized I used to enjoy being desired more than the actual act of sex itself, and I struggled to orgasm, even with a vibrator. While I was still having a good time, this bothered me and I wanted this to change. I realized all of my sexual fantasizing had none of me in my actual body experiencing pleasure, it was from imagining the man's point of view of desiring a woman, and this also subtly translated into my partnered sex as well. I realized years of movies/books/occasional porn watching/other forms of media had taught me only how to experience my sexuality in my own body through the eyes of men. It's totally fine if someone realizes that and is okay with that, however I wanted more frequent and satisfying orgasms and to fully experience my sexuality from within my own body as a vagina-having lady. I dove deep into the world of neo-tantra and conscious sexuality, and now I'm about 1.5 years in studying from various books, online resources, and literally retraining the way I breathe during sexy times, lol. I am so glad to say I have far more satisfying masturbation and partnered sex experiences. I can now orgasm more frequently, without needing a vibrator, and even during partnered sex, all things I didn't think would ever be possible for me. And of course, I still enjoy being desired and acting sexy to a man, but now I also get to genuinely enjoy the actual action of sex from within my own body. Consensual non-consent. I have been sexually abused both as a child and in my late teens. I've always liked BDSM, and when I discovered CNC I felt like it was my way of taking control back. It was taken from me at such a young age and I felt like I'd never have that part of me back, but knowing I have the power to simply say stop and have them do so immediately is actually very liberating. Last update, I promise. If you've stuck with us this far, I simply don't have the words to tell you how much love I have for each and every person who has offered support, validation for others here, and nothing but acceptance and love. It has been incredible to be able to bring so many people together, and start a huge journey with just one little comment. I will remember this moment of love and learning for the rest of my life. To all who have given me awards, I'm flabbergasted. I don't feel I deserve them, but I must be clueless apparently. Thank you all so much, you've been truly wonderful. I've done my best to reply to everyone, but if anyone has any questions or would like to chat, please feel free to drop me a message. At this rate I'll have to create my own subreddit where everyone can be empowered together. Whether you're an abuse survivor, or someone who is interested in CNC, you are amazing and I'm honored to have met you. Thank you all from the bottom of my heart. I am so proud of everyone who has shared their stories here. I will never forget you. My name is Desi, and it was truly a pleasure to have spoken to all of you wonderful people. I have no words to express how humbled and grateful I am, just, thank you. Edit 3. I cannot believe how many people this is reaching and the conversations that are happening because of this. I never imagined my little guilty pleasure would become such a place for healing. Get in, guys, we're validating our feelings and falling in love with life. 3. No, it really doesn't sound ridiculous. I studied psychology for a few years, and whilst I hate to start to psychoanalyze myself, it actually makes complete sense. You want to own your trauma, make it something pleasurable and take back that power. Experience that feeling of being helpless and then changing the outcome. We're just trying to rewrite the memories and make them our own. I was definitely embarrassed when I first considered the idea. I felt ashamed that I had even conjured up such a thought actually. But it really did begin to make sense, and it's definitely been a way for me to address my trauma. I understand the feeling, and you're right, it is hard to explain. That's why it's sort of my guilty pleasure, because in a part of my mind it is wrong to want to almost relieve what happened to me as a child. But it's really not how it looks. I'm glad I'm not the only one though. Thank you for sharing. Smiley face. 2 pro tips. Practice on your own first. Get yourself a few toys, soft stable silicone, my fav are square peg. Something about the size you guys envision for her strap, and maybe a plug too. Explore some different lubes, boy butter is a favorite for me. Start incorporating them into your self-pleasure routines. Get a good feel for what the sensations are like back there, what it feels like to relax and take it all in. Move at whatever pace is comfortable for you. Find the spots you like stimulated. Trust me, they're in there. This one's a little silly, but trust me, it works. Whistle. When you're tense in the moment and are having trouble letting it in, whistle. Try it right now and pay attention to your beehole. Sounds like your GF has a prep routine that you can probably mimic. I recommend a shower shot when you realize getting fucked like this is amazing. Time for the porn throwaway. I'm not hugely kinky IRL, vanilla is fairly satisfying, and I don't have a huge desire to seek out partners to try kinky shit with right now. However, I have odd tastes in porn. Traditional porn doesn't do a lot for me. I prefer stuff that's drawn, animated, including flash games, or written, and I like things that are a lot more violent than I would enjoy IRL. I like stuff like tentacles, monsters, fairly extreme or restrictive bondage, rough sex, dubious consent. That tends to overlap heavily with violence, rape fantasy, and, most unfortunately and shamefully for me, bestiality. Sometimes the definition of monster isn't quite as fantastical or sentient as I'm comfy with. That and stupidly oversized dicks, because of course the dicks are the size of a whole ass human torso, why not? While those particular things aren't a turn on for me, because I'm consuming media that involves no real people or acts of violence, they're not a deal breaker either. So it's an unfortunate mix of counter to my generally feminist and trauma-sensitive leanings plus kinda mega dorky, meaning nobody gets to know what porn I like. I'll own up to dirty fanfic and some light hentai, but that's it. As far as people in my life know, I don't really use porn to get off. Which is kinda true. I prefer to watch porn before to get in the mood for masturbating, not during. So much this. My wife is only the second person I've slept with, and sex with my first partner was riddled with so much anxiety and judgment to the point where it was almost never an enjoyable experience. And the fucked up thing is, I grew up in a heavily religious household, and the church that I went to would literally start preaching at you about how evil sex is, outside of marriage, at such a young age. So that constant guilt essentially just magnified the desire even further to the point where it basically became an obsession for me. I used to pray that Christ wouldn't return until after I lost my virginity so I could experience the magic of it. So here I am in my mid-30s, still obsessed with it, married to a woman with a slew of mental health struggles that is virtually never horny. I love the hell out of her, she's my soulmate, but for Christ's sake I just want to fuck something until my dick falls off. And we've had that tough conversation at least 24 times over the last 13 years. If I could do it all over again, I'd have gotten it all out of my system before I settled down. I feel like I missed out on so much. Jesus, sorry for the rant. Feels good to let it out though. Phone sex used to be a huge thing for me when I was younger. What made me stop was my dad standing at my door listening. Shit was creepy. One day in front of my sister he tried to humiliate me, but I lack a filter and proceed to ask, what's wrong with phone sex? Maybe you should stop standing at my door to listen to your kid get their rocks off and go have fun with mom. Oh wait. Doesn't quite work anymore, does it? He was pissed, but that's what he gets. My sister was annoyed I could get freaky in my room, but she couldn't sauce her girlfriend in her room, which isn't even connected to the main house, and I just straight up tell her to stop being a pussy. She doesn't need to ask for permission to passionately hug her GF, especially from points at my dad. That's between you and her. I just suggest soundproofing your room, cause he'll stand there till you're done. Just do be a creep. And went to my room. Not gonna bother creating a throwaway account because I'm not ashamed/embarrassed. When I was young I was jailbait. Hooked up with a lot of older people when I was underage. It was fun. I loved it. I wasn't a victim. I knew exactly what I was doing. The taboo rush of it, even though I was the one who pursued it. Such a rush. Best feeling. Some knew my age, some didn't. I also preferred older people at the time. Couldn't stand the immaturity of people my age back then. I'm not sure if it would be considered a guilty pleasure since it was a past experience, but I do often wish I could turn back the clock to not only experience it again, but to do more of it. LOL. Some of them was pure love, others was pure lust. Some beautiful emotional connections happened, some beautiful orgasms happened. Fuck, it was wonderful. Threesome/couple swapping. Fun to think about other possibilities and the sensory overload. Multiple hands everywhere. Feeling pleasure and pleasuring other people. Very hedonistic. I'd only be able to do it with a trusted lover and close friends who are chill. Ass to mouth. Not as a specific kink or must-have, but very hot when it happens out of passion and in the moment. Very lucky to have had a couple girlfriends who wanted to give me the best, most intense experience possible. Sitting on the edge of the bed. Her sitting on my lap, back pressed against my chest, me pulling her in close. Thrusting and digging her nails into my legs, feeling her hair and head lean back against my shoulder, hearing her moan in my ear. Then as I'm about to come, jumping off, dropping down on her knees, and deep throating/swallowing. JFC. It's too much and it's not something I demand or expect from anyone, so when it happens the feeling is phenomenal. Going down on her after coming inside her. Every girlfriend I've had has always thought it sounded hot, and I do too, until I orgasm. So usually they have to force me to do it, which ends up making it a turn on again. I'm a big guy, 6 feet 8 inches, and tend to date shorter/petite women, so it's hot seeing her being aggressive like that. Usually if they're in the mood for that they'll finish on top. Give me a teasing look, and if I show any hesitation they're putting hands on my throat and sitting on my face. LOL. Anal with dirty talk. Seems kinda vanilla among what's been said, but I also get off on watching people/my partner's face during sex. Like I wanna see how much you love it and how good it feels. To me that sends me over the edge. Edit. It's my guilty pleasure because not everyone likes anal and get very sheepish about the dirty talk. Like it's all too dirty. I thought it was just a thing during sex and everyone did it. But a lot seem to be against it or can't slow down the process to put words together. And the thing about watching facial expressions, I could be fully clothed and not touching myself to climax. Figured that one out in high school watching 2 of my friends jokingly moaning/making the pleasure faces. It's kinda weird to try to explain, but it's so good. I love when my ears are being licked and sucked on by my GF. The physical feeling of her mouth combined with listening to her moan up close gets me every time. I also thoroughly enjoy eating my GF out. Even when she finishes, I offer to eat her out even more. Sometimes while I'm eating her out, she tells me it's too much because the feeling is so intense. This is when I take a small break and then I proceed to eat her out even more. I can tell she loves this. I'll stop completely if she says okay I can't anymore. That's the safe phrase we naturally established. I also love when she grabs my head and presses it against her pussy so that I'm rubbing my whole tongue up against her clit with more pressure. I love hearing her moan up until climax. I love when she looks down on me with her legs spread wide open. I love the control I have over her senses. I love the trust she has for me when I'm down there. I love when she tells me how much I'm pleasing her. I also love when she tells me to drown her pussy. I feel like an animal with all of her juices on my face. I enjoy it so much that sometimes I end up with a sore jaw and slash or scratches under my tongue from it grinding on my bottom teeth. That's okay with me though. She's worth it, smiley face. My sexual guilty pleasure is channeling a persona that exudes seductive and mysterious energy and wooing strangers at parties. Normally I tend to be a socially anxious person, so I came up with this idea to help me be more at ease and relaxed. I get into the right headspace and basically turn the charisma up to 11 and then lock onto a target and make them feel like the most important person in the room for a few moments. I jump past small talk and instead ask them thoughtful personal questions to get a peek at their most authentic selves. They light up. It's amazing and so sexy to see people come alive and open up to me, a stranger, and let down their guard and tell me their feelings. I know people love talking about themselves and I like asking questions, so I take a genuine interest and get deep and introspective with them. I get off on feeling seductive and mysterious, but I'm not actually interested in transgressing boundaries or hooking up with anyone. For me it's more about making the other person feel seen and radiating out my love for them, then poof I'm gone, leaving a trail of swooning hearts. So my kink is being a manic pixie Jeff Goldblum. Oh, I have a couple. I am a cis woman. I am really into trans women. I find them very desirable and attractive. I feel guilty about it because it is so wrong to be a trans chaser, but I can't help it. Especially with a trans woman who would top me. I am determined to marry one. No kidding. Gay sex, male on male action. I watch gay porn most of times and I wish I am a gay man. I am totally on their wavelength when it comes to sexual appetite. I am into glory hole, anon sex, breeding, guys jerking off, etc. etc. Closeted straight men who have male lovers on the side and slash or a frequent glory hole user. ANR. To be fair, my nipples are super sensitive and I can't orgasm without nipple stimulation. That got me into adult nursing relationship, both giving and receiving. I find it very relaxing and soothing when suckling on someone's nipples. Anything to do with ass. Rimming, kissing slash nibbling on ass cheeks and anal sex. I enjoy pegging. I have a cock fetish. Fucking my partner while she's asleep. This is with standing consent, and I also have to make sure we're in a good place and I've ensured we've had real, mutual, sex recently, during which I always make sure she comes first. We almost always sleep naked. No matter how we start, she usually ends up on her side facing away from me, and I curl up behind her. Sometimes I'll wake up in the middle of the night and find her upper leg is bent forward. I get nice and hard, wet the tip, and slide into her. She usually makes a little noise or moves a bit right when I go in, and most of the time she goes back to sleep. Dragging my cock slowly in and out of her while she snores, unloading, and then going right back to sleep is one of the hottest things ever. If she knew how amazing it was, she would charge me for it, and I would pay. I feel especially guilty when maybe we've been tired or preoccupied or otherwise haven't done it for a few days in a row, but I'm still poking her in the middle of the night. It's too good to quit, though.